fellow cyborgs, and welcome to another Pyjama Sunday. We haven't had one of these in a while, and I wanted to talk to you about changing that for the better, hopefully. Today I have a very weak, milky coffee, because that's how I prefer my coffee anyway, is a sugary milk coffee flavored drink, because I ran out of vegan hot chocolate mix. So if you have an easily accessible, very tasty vegan hot chocolate mix that you know of, please let me know in the comments down below, because I've not been looking very hard, but I've been searching mentally. So just let me know if you know anything. So what I mentioned before I had the hot chocolate rant was changing the regular schedule programming. As it stands right now on my channel, a video comes up every Friday, and then you get the occasional Poetry Tuesday video or Pyjama Sunday video. But I've been having a bit of a hard time keeping up with BookTube, and my channel's been feeling like something that I have to struggle to keep up with. So I'm hoping to switch our regular scheduled programming for the next month or so to being Sundays. So you get Pyjama Sundays, easy pajama style vlog videos where I just blather a bit more and you get to know about me as a human more, rather than, doing a more formal book review or really thought out book discussion necessarily, so that you get to stay in the loop and my channel feels less like an obligation and more like just something fun to check in with you guys. So I hope you're okay with that as a plan, because I think that's just what's going to happen. And you will have noticed this week that there was no video on Friday, but you got one today. So I hope that'll work out for you, and hopefully that'll work out for me as well. The main reason why I haven't been keeping up with BookTube very much lately, and my channel's been more of a thing that I have to do rather than a thing that I get to do, is because I got a new job, which is excellent because I don't have to search for a job anymore, and I feel like a productive member of society, because that is the stereotype and the prejudice that I have absorbed into my body, that we in the Western society are only as valuable as our paychecks, which is such shit. But unfortunately, it is what I picked up that I was feeling when I was unemployed, which is messed up, and I don't agree with it intellectually, but that's fine. Whatever. I mean, it's not fine, but in any case, I have a job now, which is excellent. I am working as a cognitive trainer for people, mostly school-age children, with processing difficulties which inhibit learning and attention and academic and overall life skills. So it's a sort of job that I didn't even know existed, but apparently it's a blossoming industry, this alternative education, coming at tutoring from a completely different perspective as formal, normal, historic tutoring, and helping kids who the school system deems not severe enough to put them in special education, but they are not flourishing in the normal classrooms and the school district doesn't have money to help them. At the moment, it's really nerve-wracking because I just started at the beginning of February, and I'm still being trained, and I'm working with students, and there's just so much to balance and keep straight in my head. And so I've been feeling really not confident in my skills at work yet, but I'm really looking forward to the day where I do approach each workday with confidence, because then I feel like this could be an incredibly rewarding situation. The ability to educate kids without having to go through the normal bureaucratic BS of being a teacher in a school district. So yes, hopefully this will end up being a really nice career transition, and maybe I can turn this into a career. So fingers crossed. I'm hopeful for the future. I'm feeling better about myself, but I'm definitely been having kind of constant low-grade anxiety because of this new job. So I've been doing my best to stay on top of my reading, even though my job is taking up more of my time than obviously having no job was taking up. And it's amazing. I'm only working part-time, and it's amazing how much time in my day goes into preparing to get to the job and then coming home from the job. And I'm not talking about commute. I'm talking about just like making sure I've eaten so I'm not starving when I'm at work, and picking out my outfit and making sure I look polished. Is my hair washed? Well, let's figure that out. I don't know, maybe I'm just a really incapable human, but the transition from unemployment to part-time employment has been more difficult for me than I was hoping. Not necessarily expecting, but hoping. I've been not doing a good job of keeping up with the BookTube community and keeping up with other people's videos, which bothers me, because I think that's part of being in the BookTube community, is you're not only putting content out there, but you are listening to the other content that is out there. So what I've been prioritizing is getting videos up on my channel and responding to comments. Anything else has been a bonus. So if any of you watching are fellow BookTube creators and you've been tagging me in things and I've been not paying attention, if you want to alert me to that by letting me know that you've tagged me in something recently, if you comment on one of my videos or message me on Goodreads or something, if it's a tag you specifically want me to do, I'm not ignoring you. I just maybe haven't seen your video yet and I'm sorry. So that's a thing. Recently, with all of the low-grade anxiety that's been kind of nonstop, I've been having a hard time focusing on certain sorts of reads, i.e. War and Peace. For a while, I wasn't really reading because I felt like I needed to be reading War and Peace. War and Peace, I'm really enjoying so far, but it is a really challenging read. I just need to focus a lot on it, and the book is huge, so it's kind of hard to comfortably read for multiple hours, and I'm really slow with reading War and Peace. Like, it's amazing how much time I've put into it and how much progress I haven't made based on what I had assumed I would be making, given the amount of time I've put into it. And I think some of that has to do with the subject matter and having to build the historical context in my head, especially when it comes to battles in the war effort. I'm also flipping back to the book to look up notes that are in the back to see if that could help me understand something that perhaps I needed to understand to get the significance of a scene. But overall, it's been a labor of love. Well, not love, a labor of really liking, because I have been really enjoying War and Peace so far. But War and Peace is difficult, and when I'm anxious and freaking out, I can't focus. I have no focus. It just wanders to all of the worries I have floating around in my little noggin. So the last week I've switched to reading more easy reads. So I've been reading a lot of YA, and this was actually sparked on with a buddy read that I had set up with M.A. Anders of The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. We read that and I got through it in a couple days, and it just felt so good to actually finish a book and to have enjoyed reading it and having it not been difficult. So I continued on that vein and I read a bunch of Skullduggery Pleasant books. So that's awesome. At this point, I am now caught up with my reread of Skullduggery Pleasant, and I can move on to reading the 2 books that are on my physical TBR. And I've already checked off the Skullduggery Pleasant short story collection, Armageddon Outta Here, off of my physical TBR as well. So I think that was a really good decision, and I have in the interim picked up War and Peace, and I'm slowly incorporating it back into my daily reading, but I definitely am focusing on faster reads and easier reads, things that make me feel really productive and make me feel like I have reading traction, as I like to call it. I've also been listening to a heck of a lot of audiobooks because I inevitably leave home way too early than I need to get to work on time. So I sit in the parking lot at work and listen to an audiobook and try to get into the zone and the calm zone. That's been a lovely way to knock some books off of my TBR shelf in a different format. It kind of stinks a little bit that I'm having to, in essence, repurchase some of the books that are on my physical TBR shelf to transfer them to the new format of audiobook. But I have some Audible credits, and I've also been taking stock of the books that I have on my physical TBR shelf that Audible is selling for less than the monthly subscription fee. So if any of the books that I have on my shelves are like normally $10, then it doesn't make sense to use a $14 credit on it, right? The good news about this is, though, that I have finished the Lord of the Rings trilogy. At the moment, I am listening to the appendices of Return of the King, so I don't know if when I'll actually finish listening to the appendices, but as of right now when I'm filming this, I have finished the actual story of The Lord of the Ring, and that would never have happened without the audiobooks because I don't get on with Tolkien's writing at all, and I also do not agree with his method of storytelling. I understand why he does what he does, but it's just not made for the sort of reader that I am. So during the really anxious weeks that I've been going through, apart from reading easier books and then switching over to audiobooks a little bit, I have also just been watching reruns of TableTop from Geek and Sundry on YouTube. And TableTop I've talked about before on this channel. It's a board game playing series, I don't think that was the right grammar, hosted by Will Wheaton, and then he has guests that are fairly well known in the geeky sphere, specifically the geeky web sphere. I've been spending a lot of time rewatching those because TableTop makes me smile and giggle without me even realizing that's what I'm doing. And in times where I'm just like sitting there paralyzed with anxiety because I have X amount of minutes or hours before I need to leave for work and I don't know how to spend them, putting on an episode of TableTop is just predictable, enjoyable. I learn more about board games. I get to scope out some board games I may want to acquire, and it secretly makes me giggle and smile. Secretly in that I don't notice that I do it, but I do it. So that's good. I've been still enjoying my reading, but I've definitely been looking at my TBR bookcase and thinking that the 0x18 challenge is perhaps not doable for me with the changes in my schedule this year. And that's okay because I'm still making great progress in not hauling as much. I'm making great progress in reading the books I already own. And as long as I continue on with those two behavior alterations, then I will be really pleased with whatever progress I make this year. And fortunately, I have a great many really interesting books. I have a big eclectic taste of books on my shelves. Hopefully it'll end up being a lovely reading year, no matter what ends up happening. That's what's been going on with me. New job, yay. Job stress, boo. TableTop, yay. YA and easy reads, yay. War and Peace, yay, but challenging. Ran out of vegan hot chocolate, boo. Regular programming to Pyjama Sundays, yay. I think you guys like Pyjama Sundays, so I'm hoping that that'll be a change you'll look forward to, even though it's a change of necessity. I'm going to go now because if I don't, then I will find things to blather on about for ages, and I will end up repeating myself and probably boring you a little bit, if not just confusing you. So until next time, thank you for watching, and thank you to my patrons as always, and continue to be lovely.